Oh, okay. I don't. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Lego Batman 3 video. And we are just breezing through the story of this game. I don't remember this game feeling so short, but we've done, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's only like 4 levels left of the main story. So we're already almost done with the main story, and we just started this game yesterday. So do we want to do All the Rage? Do we want to do Need for Greed? And I think that's the only 2 missions we have for the story right now. So I guess we'll do Need for Greed first. And then we'll do All the Rage, and then we only have 2 missions left for the rest of the story mode, and then we'll be able to begin. We'll do the bonus Adam West mission. We'll do, and then we'll try to collect the red bricks, and then we'll do all the DLC missions, and you'll see. I have a method for my madness.
Battery should be housed in the temple over there.
I hope we're not walking. I hate walking.
Alright guys, it's so warm right now, you know, being summer, that every time that there's a cutscene and I unplug the mic, I mute the mic, I end up taking a huge gulp of water too, because I'm dying over here, guys. Also, I think it is the same Green Lantern. I think it is as DC Villains. I think Josh Keaton plays him in this as well. I don't know how I never realized that it was Josh Keaton in this game, since I had this game when I was a kid, and I was a big fan of Spectacular Spider-Man, so I don't know how I didn't notice, but I'm like pretty sure it is. So I don't know if I know he doesn't show up in the first game, obviously, but yeah, it's definitely Josh Keaton, so that's good. Yeah. No, it's interesting because it took me a decent amount of time to actually. I feel like it took me longer to get through the DC villain story than it did for me to get through this game's story, but I guess that's a testament to just how much shorter these levels are. And also the fact that we have just a level select screen compared to actually having to go through the open world. I will admit, I think I enjoyed my time with DC Villains so far more than this. I enjoyed at least the story of DC Villains a little bit more than this right now. But no, actually I lied. I'm enjoying this. I think there's aspects of DC. I'm enjoying this game's story purely for the amount of Green Lantern and Lantern lore that's involved. I really don't like this stupid disguising characters shtick they're going with. I think it's kind of dumb. I think without that, if it wasn't for that part of this story mode, I think this game would trump Lego DC Villains for me for story. But that's only because, okay, so as a Lego DC story, I prefer this game. As a Lego Batman story, I don't think this game delivers on that, because it's not very Batman focused. But that is... That's... You know what I mean? Like, that is... Like I said, I think there's things in this game that are... I'm not a fan of the disguises. I do really like... and I'm not a fan of... At least from my memory, I'm not a fan of the open world in this game. I don't like how barren the different Lantern planets feel. It would have been nice if there was a bit more. Either they either should have just had no open world and made this a linear game, or they should have done oh, okay, so none of us can use this. Got it. It should have been a linear game, or if they really wanted an open world, they could have just done Gotham, Metropolis, you know, a couple different cities. I don't see the point in all the little lantern planets. I just remember not liking them very much as a kid compared to the Gotham City of Lego Batman 2. But I also didn't really care for the open world in Lego DC Villains. I thought that they made, in their attempt to fit Gotham, Metropolis, Smallville, Apocalypse, and I think one other place into one open world, they made every single one of them feel small and underrepresented. I think they should have just done the entire thing as one big Gotham City, the same way they did in Lego Batman 2. I think Lego Batman 2's definitely, from my memory, has the best open world, but I have yet to remember. Like, I don't know if that's actually true or not. Okay, so these are... We need a sucker for that, and we don't have that. We don't actually have any alternate suits for this mode, so I don't know why we have these characters with us if we can't use them for anything. Okay, well that's gonna create a construct, so we need to get that down from there. Yeah, I guess, I mean, I'm not streaming. It's so weird. Like, I even have to admit that it's been a long time since I've mass recorded content. Like, back when I was still consistently making videos with my brother was like when I was doing, I think during my racing game marathon, I kind of did a lot of mass producing for content, like mass recording, and it's kind of, one thing that kind of makes it difficult is because I'm recording a lot of these back to back, and they're going to be posted pretty much back to back. It's like, what do I talk about that I haven't mentioned in a previous episode when it's like no time has passed between episodes, so I have no new updates, you know what I mean? But I think that, you know, I just recently learned today that that new Wolverine game that I really wanted to play is going to be a linear game with no open world. I mean, I'm not necessarily surprised by that. I don't really know how you would traverse an open world other than using the motorcycle. So I kind of understand why they might have chosen to focus more on it being linear. It's the same thing with Shattered Dimensions, though, where I think, like, if they tried to do Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions as an open world game in 2010, it would have not worked very well because the dimensions would have all felt too small. And it's what they did in this game, and it's what they did in, you know, DC Villains. You're trying to put too many different places into, like, too many different open worlds kind of connected, and you have to make everything feel too small by comparison, or else people will get lost. So I think, and I think for an open world game to be an open world game, you need to have a good method of traversal. But but to be fair, one of my favorite open world games is Skyrim, and you're either fast traveling, walking, or riding a horse that entire game. So I think it really depends. It needs to be, there's a certain, like, threshold, I guess, you have to cross, and I don't know. I think they could have done the Wolverine game as open world, but I also understand why maybe they chose not to, because I think that there were a lot of probably a lot of hurdles for that, right? Like, how is Wolverine gonna get around this, you know? And where do you just copy the same open world as Spider-Man? I don't see the point in doing that, you know? So I kind of do understand why they went with the way they would, but I also think it would have been neat to do something like Assassin's Creed 3, where you can go hunting in the Canadian wilderness, and maybe there's some side missions around, or whatever. But I can understand why they chose not to. But the game still looks really cool, and I'm really interested in purchasing and playing it when it comes out, especially since if we obviously support this game, then maybe we'll get a better chance at getting other Marvel games, which I love Wolverine, so I have no problem doing that, you know. But I think that this is them taking a big chance, and that if this Wolverine game does well, then they'll look into making games for other heroes, and then maybe we'll finally get games for heroes that don't really have any games. Like, we'll get maybe a Daredevil game, which would be really neat, or a Punisher game. I know there's been a couple Punisher games, but none of them were really big enough to, you know, none of them were really as bigger mainstream the way that like Insomniac's Spider-Man and Insomniac's Wolverine have been. So I think that, or you know, we need a definitive Arkham game like kind of thing, right? How the Arkham games defined Batman for a generation of gamers. I think we need that we have that for Spider-Man. The Insomniac games are kind of doing that. Although admittedly, I guess the second Spider-Man wasn't very good. I haven't gotten to actually play it yet. That's another game that I would love to actually play on PS5 at some point. Yeah, I was talking to my dad about getting a PS5, like we were talking about, because he's thinking about getting one too. Pink, orange, green, red, yellow. So I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm gonna do though. It's such a that one's got different. Oh, bye, Grundy. I love that we have. I love that the VA for Grundy in both this and DC villains. Plus, I think the first Injustice game, it's the same guy that does the Hulk for like almost every animated Hulk appearance. He just loves playing the Hulk and. He loves you can tell that, I don't know if he's being typecast or if he genuinely just loves playing big monsters, but you know what? Good for him either way. He's got a consistent line of work, right? I think he plays Grundy in Arkham City too, but I could be wrong about that. I'm not entirely sure. We need Grundy for that? You're literally Wonder Woman. You're supposed to be as strong as Superman. I'm just trying to figure out how to get everybody over there. Since I don't think we have anybody that can shoot lasers at all, do we? No. Yeah, we don't have anyone that... So that laser thing over there doesn't matter unless Green Lantern can use it. Can he? No. So... that means that Green Lantern has to get Grundy across somehow. Oh, I see what we're supposed to do. That's what I was looking for. I was like, there's a Green Lantern construct around here or something, because none of the other characters really have anything we can use for them, you know? Come here. I will admit though, having the same voice actor for Grundy and Hulk is kind of like a lot of people compare Grundy and Hulk, I think, and I think having the exact same person playing both characters is kind of like it's not helping that comparison. It would be like if you had Ryan Reynolds play Deathstroke and Deadpool, you know what I mean? Like, but I guess also this is voice acting, it's not facial. I don't know. It happens all the time though. Like, I can think of plenty. Ben Affleck playing Daredevil and Batman 13 years apart, or Henry Cavill playing Superman but then also playing Wolverine and as a cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine, or even Ryan Reynolds himself playing Green Lantern and then playing Deadpool. There's lots of repeat actors. The guy that plays Deathstroke in the Justice League movie is Flash Thompson from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
I know what to get Statue Bird's birthday. Wow! You have birthday parties
What? There. That handle inside the statue's mouth.
Oh, it's kind of like an Indiana Jones thing. Yeah. I'm probably going to finish the story mode of this game today. Start a little bit of the open world. Play more open world. Play like 12 hours of... I'm going to be home alone most of the day tomorrow, so...
We'll distract Larfleeze while Hal steals a lantern.
His greed makes him pretty unstable.
Too much talking. Let's do this already.
Give me Green Lantern.
And you'll help us?
No, I just want Green Lantern. Also, empty your pockets.
There's nothing in my pockets.
Then, give me your clothes. I know you don't want to trade with me. You're thieves. Thieves, all of you.
So much for trying to reason with an ancient origin. Now what?
You're asking us?
I think it would have been really funny if Troy Baker just did his Arkham Origins Joker voice when he tried to do an impression of the Joker. Because it's obviously not going to be the same as the Lego Joker voice, and kids will be able to go, that's not the Lego Joker voice, but it's literally still a Joker voice, and it's because Troy Baker played the Joker at some point as well, you know? So I think that's funny. Or I think they should also at sometime, I don't know if they've ever done it yet, but it'd be really funny if they had Troy Baker voice both Batman and the Joker in the same like game, and they have a conversation with each other. So it's just Troy Baker pulling a Seth MacFarlane and talking to himself. We don't have any way to use that, do we? Yeah, we don't. That's completely useless to us. I don't know why we even bothered with that. So is this thing over here. Now the reason that Larfleeze is the only... These guys here are constructs, the guys we're fighting. They aren't actually other Orange Lanterns, because Larfleeze actually owns every single Orange Lantern ring, because he was too greedy to share them. However, I think my favorite Larfleeze story in the comics is Larfleeze Saves Christmas. I think that one's great. It's a little silly, but the whole idea is that the creature whose entire existence is based on greed learns to share. And I think that it's a really cute story, and even though maybe it's not the most dark and edgy DC comic story, I think it's a really interesting way to show that even though some of the, you know, Galaxy's most evil DC villains can be redeemed and can learn a lesson. And I think that that's a good lesson for DC as a whole, as I think that DC tends to... they have their heroes push redemption, but then their villains are never redeemed, you know? Like, Batman will never kill because he believes in redemption, and yet his villains are, like, baby murderers and shit, so, like, what's the point? You know what I mean? So I think that having characters like, little stories like that show that there are characters that can be redeemed is a good way to reinforce the message to people, because when I grew up reading Batman comics, especially around the New 52, I asked myself a lot, like, why doesn't he just murk these guys? These guys are obviously not going to change, you know what I mean? There's no point. And I found myself, the reason that Jason Todd ended up being one of my favorite characters was I found myself agreeing with his methods. Same with, whereas in the Marvel Universe, even though I like the Punisher, I don't agree with him being a murderer, because so many Marvel villains are often redeemed. And I think DC is severely lacking in creating villains that you actually root for them to become good guys in the end, you know? Yeah, there was points at the comic, almost every Marvel villain has at some point redeemed themselves, and even if they, you know, even including like Dr. Octopus, and has even redeemed himself at one point, you know? So I think that Marvel does a very good job at even having characters like Doctor Doom do some good once in a while, and DC really is really lacking in that department. You would never see the Joker help somebody out, you know? And I think that we need to, that's why I like characters like Mr. Freeze, and such, because and that's why I write my DC universe the way I do, where I try to give as many characters a redemption. You know, I had Deadshot redeems himself, the Ventriloquist redeems himself, Catwoman redeems herself. The only villains that truly stayed villains until they either died or were incarcerated for life were the Penguin, Black Mask, you know, mobsters, gangsters, those kind of characters. But a lot of these superpowered type villains, Mr. Freeze redeems himself. You know, any character that could change does change. You know, if possible. You know, there are characters like Mad Hatter that don't. Any character that, you know, if their actions are deemed to definitely be too far, or they've been committing crimes for too long, then yeah. But you know, Deadshot has a daughter. He wants to be involved. He's only doing, you know, being a hitman for the money. So I had, okay, well, Batman looks at Deadshot and says, I'm a personal friend of Bruce Wayne's. If you give up crime, I will fund your daughter's college finances. And he does, and he redeems himself, you know. And same with Mr. Freeze. If you stop robbing banks, I will have the Wayne Foundation look into a cure for your wife, you know. So things like that. I like to have Batman. If you can't picture your version of Batman trying to talk to his villains, trying to redeem his villains, and trying to avoid conflict when possible, then you haven't written Batman. You've written, you know, the Punisher. Same with, you know, they always say if your version of Batman, you can't see him comforting a scared child. If you can't see your Batman trying to use words before violence, then you haven't written Batman. You've written, you know, maybe a Batman at the beginning of his career would do that. I could see that being the case, but I believe that, you know, the reason that he won't kill is because he sees redemption in everybody, and so why would he immediately deflect to punching?
I don't think this bargain is going to work. We'll leave.
No, you need to pay me for my time. I'll take Green Lantern as payment.
Oh, okay. We'll be going. Agreed.
I'm not used to people giving me what I want. Wait, I want more! Oh. What? No fair!
I've been here before. I'm so glad it's intact.
How about a tour?
Sorry, no tour. I need to make sure you guys don't run off.
Love this!
Jeez, when are they gonna be back to normal?
Now, using my super strength, I will compact these crystals, while using my super vision to make sure I'm duplicating the exact crystalline structure of the shard.
Yawn. What does Wonder Woman see in you?
I have to get going on this. But Wonder Woman likes me? Did she tell you that?
Alrighty, and now our next mission here. I think we have the red and the yellow lantern, and we're done the main story mode, right? All the rage, and yeah, that's the only one I'm seeing, and I think it'll unlock the yellow planet, and then it'll be time for, yeah, this should be the mission 13, and then we have the yellow lantern is 14, and then yeah.
Yeesh, how do people live here?
Let's not stay long enough to find out.
Hey, this river is full of raspberry jam. It's pretty good, too.
The source is over there.
Whoa. You think this place looks angry enough?
Yeah, Atrocitus and
Oh, I just understood.
exactly into yoga.
Because it's supposed to be blood.
red stuff.
It's supposed to be blood. They're not allowed to say this is blood. Because if they say it's blood, the rating of the game will go up to teen for blood. So they have to say this is raspberry jam when it's blood. That's why that's probably one of the many reasons why Injustice 2 is rated teen, right? Because Atrocitus uses blood magic, right? So they can't say that it's blood. They never show blood in these games. That's a little bit of a silly censorship moment. I criticized Legacy of the Dark Knight when I watched K-Wing stream it for a lot of their choices in censorship. I do feel like this game and DC Villains are not as heavily censored as Legacy of the Dark Knight, but I still do see like that as a piece of censorship, but I also see why that would be necessary, if that makes sense. I think that the modern Lego games, in particular Skywalker Saga and Legacy of the Dark Knight, I think that they do a lot of unnecessary censorship. Like, there was no reason why Dick Grayson's parents needed to not die after already killing Bruce Wayne's parents in the same game. I think that there's a lot of things like that. But I also, like, I understand not wanting to have Jason Todd as the second Robin in the Lego games, right? Because how are you going to explain to kids that this child got kidnapped by the Joker and beaten with a crowbar to death? That's dark. And so I understand entirely saying that's not appropriate for us to show. That's valid. I actually do. But I also think that there are, and I understand not wanting to call this a river of blood because that might scare kids. So there are certain things that I understand, but I also think that death and you know, things like that are naturally occurring parts of life that kids do need to learn about. And I think that being in a comfortable environment, right, a Lego game for their, you know, that they enjoy with superheroes they love, I think that the concept of death being introduced to them in this way is something that would benefit them, right? If you can learn to understand grief and understand death in a controlled environment, it helps you it'll help you process it when it does happen one day, when maybe your beloved pet dies or something, right? And that's something that a lot of children's media now is missing, is lessons, right? We have just these mind-numbing experiences like Bluey, and well, Bluey is not, but I actually like Bluey. I don't watch it personally, but because I'm a grown-ass man, but I also like, if my son wanted to watch it, I would not oppose to that. But there's shows like Peppa Pig or Paw Patrol, you know, there's a lot of shows out there that even Paw Patrol isn't the worst thing, I think, for kids. I think the lower stimulation you have, the better. And I think the better the lessons, the more educational the programming, the better. Like, I think Sesame Street is a really good example. I think that I actually think that, yeah, Bluey's probably the best modern example of a kid's show that tackles things that kids need to understand in a way that they will understand. And that's actually one of the few shows that I'm actually more than willing to allow my child to watch. But I think that there's too many of these mind-numbing preschool experiences that are just created to put in front of our kids. And, you know, I know that it's a topic that maybe not a lot of people think that I have a lot of expertise to talk about, but I do have 2 kids of my own. I mentioned them in my videos. I just chose not to put them on the internet out of, you know, for their own safety, right? Out of respect for them and their consent. They can't, you know, they're not old enough to consent to wanting to be posted on Instagram, so I'm waiting until they're old enough to want to do that. But I do have a son and a daughter, so I do have that experience. And I've done a lot of my own research for the things that I haven't experienced yet, right? My son is 10 months old, my daughter is 3 months old. So there isn't a lot of experience there for, you know, them being and I wouldn't plop them in front of an iPad or anything like that. But I also have 3 younger siblings, and I've witnessed how they were each raised in turn by their respective parents. In particular, like, they all have different, one of them has a different dad and the other 2 has different moms than me, and I've seen how each of them have their own parenting styles, and I've taken what I've learned from each of what from what they've done and what they didn't do, and have kind of applied that myself, and I think that I'm not perfect. I'm never going to claim to be a perfect parent, but I think that I understand a lot about, you know, just taking what I've learned from other people, and I think that I understand more than a lot of people give me credit for. And I don't insert my own emotions into my parenting though either, right? Just because I want something or don't want something doesn't mean that it's what's best for my kids, right? So it's inevitable that your children are going to be involved in things or are going to like or dislike things that you don't like, or that you know what I mean? It's inevitable that there's going to be disagreements, and it's inevitable that, you know, things will... If you give your child unsupervised access to the internet, it's inevitable that they're going to find something on the internet that you don't personally like or want them to be watching. And the difference is, you can't ban them from having access to the internet because they accidentally stumbled upon something that they didn't realize was inappropriate for them. But you can educate them on why that's inappropriate for them, and maybe suggest another alternative to what they like, right? But that's all you can really do. You can't punish your children for something that they don't understand is wrong. You know, it's not their fault that people upload videos that look like they're kid-friendly and then swear in them, and I'm guilty of this too occasionally. I try to censor myself when I do these kind of videos, but I do occasionally slip a cuss word in, and I do, you know, for that I do apologize to anyone who may, you know, but at the end of the day, we as parents should be monitoring what our kids watch. We should be watching, not just monitoring, we should be watching along with them, right? We shouldn't be plopping an iPad in front of our kids' faces and letting them raise themselves. If our child is watching something on the internet, we should be right alongside them, invested in what they're interested in, because then we don't need to ask what they want for their birthday. We don't need to figure that out. We know exactly what our children are interested in, and we can be there, and we are invested in our children's lives. And I think, you know, I would be more than okay with allowing my child to watch YouTube with me there to monitor, to supervise until he's old.
Atrocitus, intruders have been spotted. They've defeated a number of our forces already.
Pathetic! Let me demonstrate the true power of race unleashed!
Did you hear that? What on earth was it?
Trouble.
Skibbity toilet, skibberiz. And that just disproved my entire argument, by the way. I just thought about that. I was just talking about how brain rot is bad for our children, and then I immediately started singing about skibbity toilet. But the difference is I'm a grown man. That's another thing. I find a lot of these brain rot things to be funny in an ironic way, but the difference between me and a lot of other people my age is I can sit here, I can start singing about skibbity toilet and laughing at poop jokes like it's the funniest thing in the world, and then I can turn around and have a very articulate and intellectual conversation about things like I was just talking about, you know, how to properly balance technology versus toys with our children, and how to be a involved parent. And I think that a lot of people aren't capable of doing both anymore. A lot of people think it's one or the other. You have to be, either you're intelligent with an intelligent sense of humor, or you're an idiot with a brain rot sense of humor. You could be an intelligent person who also likes to turn your brain off and laugh at the dumbest jokes possible because you find them funny, right? I love movies like Scary Movie. Do I think the sense of humor is highbrow? No, I think it's the dumbest, some of the dumbest and lowest ball humor you could possibly get. But I find it entertaining, but that doesn't mean I myself am dumb or lowbrow. My sense of humor just is. My sense of humor is horrible. Half the stuff I say in my videos or in friend groups with my friends are horrible, but that doesn't reflect who we are as people. I went through a phase in grade 12 where my jokes, quote unquote, were just kind of hate crimes, honestly. They were horrible things to be saying about anybody. Looking back, I'm ashamed of those things, but it doesn't change the fact that I said them, and it also doesn't change the fact that at the time I thought they were funny, but they didn't reflect who I was. You can make a joke about a group and not believe what you're saying.
Grundy, carry Hal over your shoulder.
Okay, I want to contribute ideas too. Who are you?
Who am I? You can call me Joker!
And I'm Lex Luthor, the greatest criminal mind of our time.
Not hero in disguise, right?
And I'm Cheetah.
What do you want?
Oh, it's not what we want, it's what you want. Your enemy, Green Lantern.
That was me. Pulled muscle when I threw him down. What do you want in return?
We want your help conquering Earth.
You think I'd waste my time with a stupid planet like Earth?
We don't want to waste your time. Just put us in charge and then you can go.
I'm going to need something more than just Green Lantern. We should go out to dinner.
I'd rather starve.
You're my kind of woman.
Clearly not.
Come on, you stupid! Spirit. Strange. It let me have the lantern when I got angry.
Peas in a pod, you and I.
Are you even listening to me?
You know, on second thought, we don't need your help.
What?
It was a joke.
So you were just wasting my time? That's funny to you?
Yes.
You guys really angered me! More than normal!
Seems this cage will hold me. Unless, yes, I compute that my enemies have not foreseen one possible outcome of their efforts.